So we got to talk about adjustments for Charlo versus Castano, and I think we'll get a good idea of who can make more adjustments in the second fight from the first fight by looking at the Compubox stats from the first fight. So the narrative coming in, and I've even repeated it, is that Charlo needs to throw the jab more, keep the fight in the center of the ring more than he did in the first fight. Also, he needs to land more power punches than he did in the first fight in order to even up the fight and land something big against Castano, particularly when it comes to counter punches off of the ropes, when Castano is pressuring him and digging into the body, when Charlo's back is against the ropes. Now, here's the issue with that. If you look at the Compubox stats from the first fight, Charlo threw 24 jabs per round. It's high output for jabs. Also, he landed 40% of his power punches. Also, he threw a little more than his average rate in this fight. He threw about 44 punches per round in this fight, which is a little higher than his average output. On top of that, he also brought Castano's output down considerably. Castano averages somewhere around 77 punches per round, and Castano threw 48 to 49 punches per round in the first fight. So that picture right there that I just painted of the Compubox stats paints a picture of a guy who should have had more success than he did in the first fight. Now, why did he not? Why did Castano have a lot of success? Castano threw 400 power punches in the fight. He landed a high percentage of his power punches. He landed 41% of them. And the power punches, since he threw more punches overall, but it wasn't that much. He threw more punches overall. His shots looked flashier than Charlo's. He threw more power punches than Charlo. So that's where he had success. So ultimately what I'm saying is, when you look at the first fight from the second fight, I don't know how many adjustments that Charlo can make that he didn't do in the first fight. Possibly he can throw from 24 jabs per round up to 28. Possibly instead of throwing 44 punches per round, he can throw 50. You know, he can make slight adjustments and do better at what he did good in the first fight. But he landed a ton of power shots in the first fight. He landed a high rate. 40% is a high rate of power punches landed. So he did all those things well. So can he do better in the second fight than he did against Castano in the first fight? The big question I have for Castano is, can you go 12 more rounds with the big puncher? It's the same question we had of Harrison going into the second Charlo fight. Now, Harrison had success against Charlo in the second fight in that the scorecards were once again close, just like the first fight. So he was having success. The problem is he got dropped early in the fight, never fully recovered, then got stopped in the 11th round. And that's due to the fact that when Charlo's landing a high percentage of power punches, which he does, economical fighter, and he's good at punch placement, good at landing those power shots. When you have that, can Castano go 12 more rounds at a high output, throwing 50 punches per round, throwing that many power shots to where he's going to leave himself open, although he is a compact fighter and brings those elbows back to his hips after he throws pretty quick? Charlo's still going to land power shots. Can Castano take 12 more rounds of it? He's proved that he could do it once. Can he do it twice? But other than that, what adjustments can each fighter make from the first fight to the second fight? I don't know if they can make many. I think it's going to be more of the same. It's likely going to be more action because both fighters are going to show some urgency, given that Castano doesn't trust the judges and Charlo wants a knockout because that's who he is. So I think we'll have even more output, more urgency, more bad intentions, which is going to make for a great fight. But I don't know if they can make big adjustments from fight one to fight two. Castano did what he wanted to do in the first fight by landing a high percentage of power punches and throwing a lot of power punches. And Charlo did what he wanted to do in that he tried to make it a more economical fight, which he did. The fight was in the 40s instead of the 60s and 70s punches per round. Also, he landed a high percentage of his power shots, and he threw the jab. He kept it in the center of the ring as much as he possibly could. So I don't see many adjustments that either fighter can make in this fight. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it'll be more of the same, except more entertaining. And your guess as to who can win, I think, is a toss-up fight. My prediction tomorrow.